I finally hit 25, and it is crazy to think about the fact that I have no friends. I live in Japan. Everything's great, everything's beautiful, except that I have no friends. That's right. And I'm not just talking about, oh, you have friends and you just don't hang out with them. No. The thing about living in Japan, to be honest, is that everyone here is of a certain kind. And it's hard to find people that are very tailored to your vibe. How should I say? Here's a better way to put that. There's a small pool of people that you have to hang out with. And you either pick from those pool of people or you fail and you decide not to have any friends. So, I guess you could say it's my decision. And to be honest, I'm not ashamed of this. Because there are other things in life that you can find important. And here's the real truth. I've always had issues with gravitating towards others, and I don't know what it is with myself or my psyche, but it feels like ever since I was young, I've always had trouble feeling the desire to take the initiative in these kinds of relationships. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just don't want to have any friends, or if I feel like I don't deserve to have any friends on some level, but it doesn't feel right for me to do that sort of thing. And so yeah, admittedly, it's a little bit lonely in this lifestyle. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're spending it alone. You're doing all your things alone, and because you're in another country, you probably have friends back home. And so luckily, I'll get the chance to talk to them, but all it does is make me feel homesick. I'm just being honest. It makes me feel like, oh, there's something beautiful and great back there that I'm missing out on over here. And I like living life over here. It's fun, but it's just that the closeness that comes from real relationships isn't nearly here. And I'll admit it. Sometimes it feels like the reason is because I live in a small town. I live in Kyushu, in the Miyazaki prefecture of Japan. And so there are not many foreigners out here. And there's not many support for foreigners out here. And there's not much interest in foreigners from Japanese people out here. We're just kind of black sheep. We just kind of bow around and get kind of shunned a little bit. And if you do, all due respect, if you do have interest in foreigners as a person out here, you're probably a middle-aged woman. And great, great for you that you get to have those opportunities for some sort of cross-cultural pollination, but me personally, I do want to hang out with people my own age. I want to find friends that I can go in to karaoke with, to go and just vibe out with and relate on how we feel on different topics. And even if we have certain differences, if we can at least relate on our age and just our stages in life, then that's something to grasp onto, let alone that friend being also into YouTube and film and all that kind of stuff. Just, if you start at that base level of understanding, then I feel like friendships and relationships are possible. Yeah, and so I know you might be thinking, oh, you just want a girlfriend. And listen, a lot of you guys in the States have girlfriends, and a number of you don't, and I'm sorry to hear that. But listen, at the end of the day, it's just another relationship. It's another way to not feel lonely. And I don't really care if I have a relationship or not. It's just a matter of possibility. It's a matter of opportunity for me, personally. I'm just being vulnerable and honest here. The opportunities aren't really here to make friends, to have relationships like that, except for the small pool of foreigners that I have at my disposal, and of course, just random strangers that are generally not my age range. That's just how it is. And so, admittedly, going to Tokyo would alleviate a lot of these issues for me, personally. And, here's the thing though. I go on YouTube, I go on Reddit, and I see people that are complaining about the same issue. They say, oh, I live in Osaka, or I live in Tokyo, and I have no friends. And so then that makes me think, well, if you're living in that big city, and you still don't have friends, then maybe it's on you. And to that end, maybe if you're living in a smaller town, and you don't have friends, maybe that's on you, Maybe it's a little bit harder, but at the end of the day, like the resistance or the barrier to entry being lower or higher doesn't matter if your actual effort is down here. It doesn't matter. And I think you can kind of apply that to life in general. Like anyone can apply that to their situation, I mean. You know, if you're having trouble finding friends and you may think, well, what if I move to a different country? Or what if I move over here? Or what if I have this better opportunity? What if I looked better? What if this or that? That's probably not the issue. Yes, maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll help a little bit. But at the end of the day, you need to put in the effort. Because I struggled with this problem in the States as well. I'll admit it. I struggled with it quite a bit, but I found the answer for me. And to me, that answer was community. Just being able to find people that were into the same things as me. And so I got lucky enough to find a friend that was into YouTube. And so I could talk with him and we could collab and we could talk ideas and whatnot. And I was lucky enough to find people in my life that were interested in volleyball. That was my sport of choice. And we could go to these larger areas, these larger meetups, and make friends there. And yes, you're going to have some older people, you're gonna have some younger people. To me, that kind of diversity is great. Good, I get to meet and interact with different kinds of people. But it's when you don't have opportunities that can be painful. And so yes, it's important to set yourself up for success, but it's also important to take the steps that lead to that success in the first place. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm doing either at this stage of my life. And maybe that's not really important to me, but I'm human, and we're all human. And so at some level, it's going to matter, and it's going to affect the way that you look on the world, the way that you feel every single day. And so honestly, I don't really know where to go at this point. Like, I'm lost because I want to interact with people more, but also I don't really want to spend any more time doing that kind of thing that I already do. I think the one thing that I would like to replace in my life is social media addiction. I'll admit it. I'm addicted to social media, probably like you watching this right now. And I'm sorry that that may be the case for you. It's the case for me too. And I hope that you can deal with that and you can manage it in your life. I'm going to try to manage it in my life, but it's just taking away from time that I could spend with other people. Okay? So it's like, I could either spend less time working on YouTube or learning Japanese because I live in Japan, or spend less time, applying to jobs, trying to get to Tokyo. Or I could spend less time watching YouTube. Or, Instagram, shorts. Honestly, to me, shorts are a scourge on the earth, but that's just me. Like, YouTube is like so-so. I'm okay. I'm agnostic about YouTube. YouTube can exist, but shorts, they suck the life out of you. Just hypnotize. It's terrible. And I get stuck in that scroll because I have the YouTube app, and I go back and forth on having it versus deleting it. Instagram's the same way. Anytime I have Instagram, it's worse. Instagram is worse for me. But really, all that to say, it's partially the social media addiction. It is. And that social media addiction is prevalent throughout everyone's life at this point. And it's not only that, but social media also hurts your view on the world. And so now I'm just thinking, well, maybe I need to get rid of it in my life. But how? How do I get rid of it? It's the way I interact with others. I live in Japan now. How am I supposed to contact others when I don't even have social media? And every social media platform comes built in with these shorts, with these entertainment dopamine hits that I just can't avoid them. And so I'm stuck in this cycle of like push and pull, getting closer and pushing further away from social media, but always the addiction is pervasive. And I just don't know what to do. And I'm not going to completely blame it for me not having friends or anything like that, but I am going to say it's part of the problem, and I don't know what to